What's up, Not Just developers? Welcome back to our usual Friday live stream. Today, we're gonna build a highly converting paywall in React Native Expo using RevenueCat. We're gonna do that in order to manage in-app subscriptions. And if you're not familiar with in-app subscriptions, this is the best app monetization strategy. And for example, one of the applications that I'm using, that I'm subscribed to, is Duolingo, and only they generated over almost $500 million in 2023. So if you have a mobile applications, most probably implementing in-app subscriptions is going to be the best strategy that you can take to monetize it. So make sure to follow this tutorial till the end and see how easily it is to do using RevenueCat and their new product Paywalls. So the challenges around paywalls are, first of all, the in-app purchases, they should be processed by the App Store, or Play Store, because they are taking a cut. They are taking 15 to 30% of your revenue. With these two challenges, there is nothing we can do about. We just have to follow these rules if we want our apps to be listed on App Store and Play Store. But the next challenges are they can be solved. And here I'm talking about specifically around cross-platform applications that have this challenge of managing products and in-app subscriptions on multiple stores. For example, if you're building with React Native, you want to deploy on Play Store and App Store, a user from Android will buy his subscription through Play Store, a user on iOS through App Store, and this leads to a lot of challenges managing all of this in your code, managing all the products that you have. What if the user changes the device? So yeah, there are a lot of challenges around this, specifically for cross-platform applications. And our challenges are limited analytics that are provided by the App Stores and Play Store, and also the data is scattered. So half of your data is in one place, half of your data is in another place. And also strict rules around paywalls. Well, the good news is that most of these challenges are solved by RevenueCat, which we integrated and used in a lot of applications. I actually used it at my previous startup to manage in-app subscriptions, and it makes it super easy to integrate in-app subscriptions in cross-platform applications. They also offer a lot of analytics that otherwise you couldn't get, and tools like A/B testing in order to see which kind of pricing is the best for your product. So the way RevenueCat works is it sits between your application and the stores, and from your application, being it iOS or Android, you're simply connecting to one source. You're connecting with RevenueCat, and then RevenueCat on your behalf is connecting to App Store or Play Store, depending on the user's platform, and is managing the subscriptions. Is buying it, is checking if the user is subscribed or not, is updating, and so on. The good part, like so far, this was simplifying a lot of our code, but at the same time, it was still our responsibility as developers, as app developers, to implement our paywalls. And let me tell you, the paywall and the design of a paywall is very important when it comes to how well it will convert users into paid users. And it will reflect on your bottom line and on the amount of money you will be making with your application. So the problem is that if you give a developer the task to build a paywall, you're most probably gonna get something like this. This is actually a paywall that I built in one of my applications. And what do you think? How well this is going to convert the users? I'm not sure, but what I'm pretty sure is that this paywall will not even pass the App Store review. You're gonna get rejected because it doesn't follow all the rules. Again, there are a lot of rules, and you need to know how to build these paywalls in order to first follow them and also make sure you convert well users into paid subscribers. This is not a problem anymore with RevenueCat's new product, which I'm really excited to get into today and try it out in a real application. RevenueCat launched paywalls, and this product will allow us to build paywalls remotely and configure them remotely in order to save time and follow the best practices. So all we have to do is choose a paywall from a lot of templates already available, then customize it to our need with description, title, images, and so on. And in our application, we simply render this paywall that is already generated. So no development work from our side other than requesting the paywall and displaying it in our application. That means that we will set it up once and later we will always configure and manage it through the RevenueCat dashboard. This will also enable us to run different A/B testing to see which kind of paywall is converting better, what kind of titles, colors, images is performing better. So that's going to be the plan for today. In order to integrate the paywall, I will also show you how you can set up all the in-app subscription products, how you can connect them with RevenueCat. So if you're just getting started, all you have to have is an application on one of the stores, either Play Store or App Store, and everything else I'm going to show you step by step how you can do in today's tutorial. So if you're excited, let's get started and let's follow along these tutorials. I also prepared the asset bundle that you can get at assets.notjust.dev/paywall, and that asset also includes the a step-by-step like to-do list guide that will help you move along and maybe copy-paste some of the stuff to easier follow along. So make sure to download. I'm going to open it somewhere here. Let me check where it is. Where it is. Hey, everyone in the live chat, how are you doing, guys? Where are you joining us from? While I'm opening this step-by-step guide, write down in the comments where are you joining us from. So, asset bundle. After downloading the asset bundle, here you're going to find the presentation and also the URL to the to-do list. Later on, I'm also going to add the source code to help you move along easier. So let's open this one in our browser. And here is the paywall and in-app subscription that we are going to follow today. At the end of this video, I'm gonna try to integrate this in a real application because I have a product on the App Store that I wanted to integrate paywalls for a very long time, but I didn't want to spend time designing and building paywalls. And with this RevenueCat Paywall, it's going to be super easy to do that. So I'm gonna try to do that right in that product. But for the simplicity and to make sure that everyone will be able to follow this tutorial, I'm going to start a brand new project and we're going to integrate it there. So let's go ahead and open the terminal. And I want to say big thank you to RevenueCat for sponsoring this video. RevenueCat, we were using them even before they sponsored us, and yeah, super excited to work with them. So let's go ahead and open a folder. I'm going to navigate to my project 26. Oh, not that one. So let's go ahead and start by initializing a new project, a new Expo project. To do that, what we have to do is use the Create Expo application tool to initialize a new Expo project. So let's go ahead and do npx create Expo app latest. Let's call it paywall, and let's choose the template called tabs. This template includes a couple of screens. It also includes the Expo router setup, so it will help us move along faster. And if we're going to need like different screens, it also will be already there for us. Hey, Munib, Rogelio. Zakir from India, Kingdom of Bahrain. Sam, hello. Kansas, USA, Pakistan. Hello guys, how are you doing today? By the way, I have also the application that I have an application on the store. This is a prerequisite, and you'll also have to have an application either on App Store or on Google Play, because as I said, like the in-app subscriptions is going through the stores, so we will have to set up some products here on the store, and for that we have to have it here. It doesn't have to be public. If you are still developing it, it just needs to be configured on the store in order for us to be able to access the in-app purchases here, as you can see. And for this tutorial, I'm going to use my Femify application from the store to set up the in-app purchases. So the only thing that I need to do and I need to make sure is that when generating my local project, I will use the same bundle ID in order for me to be able to connect to the same application. In your case, if this is your application, like you already have a bundle ID, you have deployed it, so just continue working in your application. Now that our application is ready, let's go ahead and open it in Visual Studio Code, Paywall. I'm gonna do that with this shortcut, code Paywall. Here it is. And let's go ahead and start the server by running npm start. This will start the Metro server from which we can run either on Android, iOS, or even on a physical device by scanning this QR code. I'm gonna press I to run it on iOS simulator. And it opens right away in Expo Go. And then let's go ahead and see what screens do we already have. If we look in the package, we are using Expo SDK 50 and also Expo Router version 3. After our application is running on the emulator, here we can see two tabs that that the template contains, and also from the tab 1 we can open the model. Perfect. We're not going to focus too much on the user interface other than on the paywall, because this is the focus of today's video. We want to integrate paywall and to manage subscriptions in our application. I would go ahead and continue for the next logical step of creating a RevenueCat account, but I think there are some steps that takes a bit of time, and I want us to do them now. And while the application will be building, we're gonna follow the next steps, and this will speed up a bit the process. So the next step is going to be to install the required libraries. Today we're gonna need two libraries. The first one is React Native Purchases, and this is the core of RevenueCat that allows us to configure, manage, to request information about users' subscriptions. And also, the next library is React Native Purchases UI. This is specifically for the user interface of a paywall. We are not going to have to build our paywall. This is going to be done by RevenueCat. We will only gonna use the React Native Purchases UI. So let's go ahead and copy this command and open a new terminal and paste the command to install the two packages in our Expo application. And after this is done, we will have to, the thing is that the in-app purchases, they are not going to work inside Expo Go. So here is Expo Go. In-app purchases is not going to work here. What we have to do is we have to create a custom development build. This is something that we should already get used to, because this is going to be a very important step going forward and working with Expo, because whenever you have custom native code, then the option is to create a custom development build, which In other words, means that we're going to build our custom version of Expo Go in which our application is going to run. There are two ways to do that. One way is going to be local, and I'm going to do that right now. And it's as simple as running npx expo run iOS. And what this will happen, that the first time we will do that, it will ask to provide the iOS bundle identifier. And this is going to be the unique ID of your application. It should be unique. In my case, I'm going to reuse the bundle identifier that I have for my Famify application, because I will reuse that application to set up in-app subscriptions on the store. Let's continue. And what this is doing is it's creating the iOS directory, which is the native side project that we can open in Xcode. But the difference is, the important thing to understand here is that this iOS directory, we can always delete it and regenerate it from scratch. This is called continuous native generation. And yeah, it helps us build custom native builds for our application to use any kind of native code that we need. So this is going to be to plan the build, but another thing to mention is that doing this locally, you can do this for iOS and Android as well, requires some additional setup. You need to run on iOS, you need Xcode. For that, you need a macOS. Not everyone has that. For Android, you need Android Studio and a couple of other tools. You can check out the URLs that I provided here for local development in the to-do list, and you'll see like the prerequisites in order to do this locally. If, however, you don't have this tool set up, what you can do is you can build them using EAS. EAS is the cloud tools to build, submit, update your applications. So follow this documentation to start a build with EAS. In this situation, you don't need to have anything installed and set up, and you can also create a build for iOS if you're working on Windows. Yeah. This is compiling. Okay, that's good. And another thing that I'm gonna do, maybe I should wait for a bit for it to see it working. And I think I'm gonna simply remove the old version of my Famify because it's going to reuse the same bundle identifier. And let's wait for a bit until it finishes building. Assets is different. Assets is different. When you download the assets, it's not the ones that you expect. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. Not sure what happened there. But while our application is building, let me update the assets. Settings, okay. Yeah, that's right. Here, the asset bundle. And try now. Try to download the asset bundle again, and it should be up to date. Yeah, another thing that I wanted to mention is that in-app subscriptions, they by default, they are not working out of the box like on iOS emulator and Android emulators. There is a way to enable them like with Sandbox, but that requires additional steps. And the the best way to test them out is going to be to use an actual physical device. So I have my physical device connected with a cable to my computer. And in the next step, I'm going to build and run this application again on my physical device. But here we see that it's finished building for our emulator, and I can open our application in the Paywall native application. This is going to load. Everything should be the same. Yes, as you can see, everything is the same, but the only difference is that now the application is not running in Expo Go. The application is running in its own native side application called Paywall. That's cool, and that will allow us to use in-app purchases later on after we have configured them. As I said, the next step that I'm gonna do and move on is going to be to do the same step of building our application, but this time I want to run it on my physical device. To do that, I will run the same command, or let me do a clear here. I'll run the same command, but I'm gonna do a suffix -d in order to select the device where we want to run our iOS side application. You can do that with Android as well. And here I'm gonna select my my iPhone that is connected with this computer. And after I see that it's starting building, we can move on. And I think I will also have to remove my application from the device because it's reusing the same bundle identifier. Yes, as we can see, the application is building. So we can, if it worked for the emulator, it's going to work for the physical device as well. So that means that we can move on to the next step. Initializing and setting up the project is finished, and we can go ahead to the next step to set up and configure our RevenueCat account. So let's start this part by creating an account on RevenueCat and setting it up to have like our products that we are going to display on the paywall later on. For that, let's go ahead and open the SDK Quick Start documentation. This is a great documentation. Like RevenueCat, it has done a very incredible job with the documentation because it's very, very in-depth. Like it has a lot of screenshots. Like sometimes it's even like more in-depth that you would expect. So have it on the side, maybe check it out, but I'm going to show you like all the steps and we're gonna do them together. The first step that we have to do is we have to create a RevenueCat account. So let's start from here. And creating an account, you can do that for free. I already have one, so I will reuse my account here. And after you log in, there will be these projects from where you can create your own project. So the next step, after you create an account, create your project, and I'm gonna call it Femify. Let's create the project. All right, the project is set up. We're gonna be able to work with sandbox data to test everything out before we go to production. And the next step is going to be to add an application or connect an application with our RevenueCat project. So I'm gonna start with App Store. At the end of the video, I'm gonna also have a look at the Play Store and we're gonna connect that with Play Store as well. But let's start with one platform. Or maybe we should do it side by side. Guys, how many of you are only working with Android and don't have an App Store application? Let me know. Let me start a poll quickly. Do you target first one iOS and Android, then iOS only, and then Android only? Let me see which one I should focus more on. I don't need another option. But anyway, I'm gonna start with iOS and then we're gonna integrate Play Store as well. So let's go ahead and click on App Store here. For the application name, I'm gonna call it Femify. For the asset bundle, here we need to specify the same asset bundle that we have specified for our project. And on App Store, you can find that in the app information. So in my case, that's notjust.dev. Let's go to the dashboard and provide it here. The next one is the app-specific shared key. This key is used to connect with your application, and it will enable RevenueCat to connect with your application. And to generate one, we're gonna go back to App Store. Maybe I can move it here. And I will, on the same app information page, I will scroll down until I find the app-specific shares secret. Let's press manage and let's click on generate here. It generated a secret. Copy it and go back to your RevenueCat dashboard to set it in this field. That's it. Now RevenueCat will be able to get some information about your application. The next key, which is very important, is the in-app purchase key configuration. This key will allow RevenueCat to validate the purchases that are made through Apple StoreKit. It will allow it to look for invoices, for offers, and other features. To generate one of these keys, let's go back to App Store. And here at the top, we're going to go into the users and access. Let's move to the keys and let's switch to the in-app purchases tab page here. We're going to generate a new key under the active here. So let's press on the plus sign. And for the name, it's going to be Femify RevenueCat. I'm going to do it like this. Let's generate it. And what will happen is we will be able to download this key by pressing on this button. So let's press the download button. It will download. We see it here at the top in the downloads. And we can go back to RevenueCat and submit this key under this field. The key ID is automatically filled. The issuer ID is we're going to take it from App Store. On the same page at the top, we see issuer ID. So let's copy and put the issuer ID. That's it that we have to do to connect, and let's press save changes. And now our RevenueCat application is connected with our App Store application. To connect with other platforms in the applications, we're gonna press plus and do for the Play Store as well. Let me just do this with App Store. I want to see a couple of products in our application, and then we can cover the Play Store. If you are targeting Play Store and you need this, check out the timestamps in the description. We're gonna try to provide everything so that you can move easier through the video and look specifically for what you are interested. And what's going on here with a poll? I'm interested. So 71% of people are targeting both iOS and Android, 14 Android only, and 4 iOS only. So the big majority, 71%, they have a possibility to start with iOS and App Store. And the ones that are using Android only, I'm going to provide a bit later the integration there as well. But now let's continue. And the next step here in our guide is, this completes one of our steps, and we have finished with setting up RevenueCat. Okay, let's go ahead and we created an account, we created a project, and we connected it with the App Store. The next step is going to be around products, and we are going to have to configure the products. Badak, welcome to React Native. After 3 years with Flutter, you're very welcome to the community. You're gonna love it. Anyway, so our next step is going to be to configure the products. Let's go ahead and open this page for the iOS product setup, and you can check out more information on how you can do that. Again, we're gonna do it together. So let's go ahead in App Store. First of all, let me tell you this. As I said, the products or the subscriptions, they should go through the stores, through App Store and Play Store. So we have to take this step of configuring first these products on the store. After we do that, and after we connect them with RevenueCat, that's it. Like, we need to do it once at the beginning when we set them up, and after that, we can manage them and through RevenueCat. So let's go ahead and open up our application on App Store, and under features, we're gonna go into the in-app purchases. The first step is to create the group. Let's create a non-consumable reference name. Oh no, I was looking at it in-app purchases. Actually, I'm supposed to go to the subscriptions. We're talking now about subscriptions. So yeah, I was looking that something is weird here. So the first step is we need to create a subscription group. A subscription group is simply grouping together multiple subscriptions in one single group, and it will enforce that the users they can only have one subscription inside the group. So if they upgrade or if they switch or change, Apple will make sure that they will only have one of them here. So I'm gonna call it Femify, and inside this subscription group, we're gonna have to actually create these subscription products. Before we can create the products, it's also important to do the App Store localization. We need to provide the names of this group in different languages. So let's press create under App Store localization for our group first, and provide the subscription display name, the thing that the user will see before buying this, and we're gonna call it Femify Pro or something like this. App name, display name, we can use the app name. So let's create this localization for English, and you can do that for other languages as well that you support in the application. Now that we are finished with the group, let's go ahead and create the subscriptions inside that group. I'm gonna press on create, and here under the reference name, let's start. We're gonna probably have two products, one monthly subscription and one annual subscription. So let's start with a monthly $9.99 no free trial, or maybe like, I don't know, $4.99. The product ID, this is the unique ID of this product, and this is going to be important for us to connect it with RevenueCat. On RevenueCat, they suggest like a format that we can use, where the first one is a product name, then the price, for example, $4.99, and then the duration, 1 month in this example. So yeah, let's create it like this. And after this is created, on the next page, we're gonna also have to configure some of the stuff. For example, for the subscription duration, we want to select 1 month. For the availability, let's set up the availability to make it available in all the countries. Press done. Where is it? Yes. For the prices, here is where we will set up the prices. Let's start with a base price, and for example, it displays my country. So in Spain, that's gonna be $4.99, And when we press next, we're going to be able to localize these prices for different countries as well. Automatically, it tries to convert based on the same value in different countries, but you have a possibility to change that as well. I'm going to leave that by default, and I'm going to confirm and move to the next one. All right, so the prices are set up. The next step is for the App Store localization. Again, here is where we will localize the display name and the description of this product. So let's start with the English. In my case, that's going to be Pro monthly. Access all Pro features on a monthly basis or something like that. Let's press add. Most probably I'm going to come back and revisit the names and descriptions here. I'm going to scroll down a bit for the screenshots. I don't think we need anything at this moment. And for the review notes, leave some details for the people who will review from Apple, how they can get to this, to the paywall, and how they can review this. Let's go ahead and press save. Displayed on the paywall. I think it needs to have something, otherwise you're not going to be able. After saving, the status is still missing metadata. So we need to make sure that the status is not missing metadata, because otherwise it's not going to be displayed. So why is it missing metadata? Is it because of a screenshot? Maybe. So let's try to add a dummy screenshot for now. And later on, I'm going to add the actual screenshot from our... And after adding a screenshot, we see that it's ready to submit. Later on, make sure to update it with your actual paywall or the screenshot of this product. Anyway, if it's ready to submit, that means that we have set up this product here on App Store. Let's go ahead and do the same for the next subscription product, which is going to be the annual subscription. And I'm just by going back to the subscription group, let's go ahead and create a new one. This one is going to be yearly. Let's do $14.99. And the product ID is going to be let's say $14.99, 1 year, and then 1 week free. Let's create it. For the yearly subscription, we also want to provide an introductory offer, like a free trial. So let's go ahead and do for the subscription duration here, 1 year, which is the biggest duration that you can select here. For the availability, it's going to be all the countries. For the prices, let's add the price, and it's going to be $14.99. Next. Okay, for everything is fine. Confirm. For the App Store localization, let's display it as Pro yearly. Access all Pro features. Let's click add. And for the review, again, I'm gonna add a dummy screenshot. Okay, let's press save. Make sure that the status moves from missing metadata to ready to submit. Yes, it does. And now we have our 2 subscription products ready on App Store. The next step, what we have to do is in RevenueCat, we have to import these 2 subscription products, or we have to, in other words, create a one-to-one mapping between RevenueCat products and App Store products. To do that, let's go ahead on our RevenueCat dashboard, and we're gonna go to the product catalog. We're gonna go to the products page. Here we need to, as the description says, Products are the individual in-app purchases you set up on the store platforms. So the ones that I just set up on Apple. Let's press on the new to create these products. And we're gonna select Apple. If you connected Android and other platforms, you're gonna see them here, but I'm gonna open them from Apple. And there are two options to do that. Either you can manually create and connect them here by specifying the identifier that we put here, so product ID. That's going to be easy, but if you have a lot of products, that might take a lot of time. Another option is going to be to import the products automatically. In order to do that, we're going to have to add the App Store Connect credentials first. Let me show you this automatic import, because I'm pretty sure you can follow the manual one yourself. But if you're interested in the manual import, let's press on that button, which brings us to the applications configuration, and we will scroll down until we see App Store Connect API. This is an API key that allows RevenueCat to get the product prices and changes automatically from the store. So in order to generate one, we're gonna have to go to users and access. We're gonna go to the keys, and in the first page, App Store Connect API. Am I correct? App Store Connect API, correct. Let's create a new one. Famify RevenueCat. And for access we're gonna give it App Manager access. Let's generate this API key. Let's go ahead and download it. Download. And let's go ahead and drop it under the App Store API key in this configuration. Just like that. For the issuer ID, we're going to copy it again from the top of the page. And for the vendor number, this should be visible in the payments and financial page report. So simply press on this link. It will open up your payments and financial reports. And at the top, there will be your vendor ID that you can copy and paste here. After that, make sure to save the changes, and let's go back to our product catalog, products, press new. Let's go to the App Store, and here we can import products. This will fetch the products that we have set up on App Store, and we don't have to make sure that we don't have to manage like all of these IDs ourselves. We can also select the ones that we want to import. I'm going to import both of them and press import. Just like that, our products have been linked with RevenueCat. So under products here, we see that we have two of them for the Famify on iOS. The next step is to create entitlements. As we can see here, the products, they have 0 entitlements. So if we go to the entitlement, what are these entitlements? Well, by reading the description, we understand that, entitlements, they represent the level of access to features or content that a customer is entitled to. For example, like in many applications, there are only one entitlement, like the Pro Access. For example, some application might have different levels of access, like you might be a Pro member, a Gold member, a Diamond level member, and so on. And this would be different entitlements because by being a member of that level, will give you access to different features and content in the application without you having to think about different products, like specific products from App Store, Play Store, and so on. It's a simple entitlement that gives you access to things, and then we connect this entitlement with different products. So let's go ahead, and in our application, we're gonna have only one, and let's call it Pro Access to all features. Let's create this entitlement. Let's open it up, and we see that it doesn't have any associated products. By associating products, I'm gonna click here, attach, and I'm gonna choose the first one, click add, and also the second one. By associating products to an entitlement, what's going to happen is if a user has at least one of these products, he is going to be entitled to this entitlement. So this is basically in a way of grouping together different products with different offers, with different lengths. For example, it doesn't matter if a user is paying monthly or yearly, he's going to have access to the same features in our application. So this is really handy in managing like what is the user entitled to or what does he has access to. Now, if I'm gonna go to the products, we see that both of them have one entitlement. And it's also important to understand that the same product can give you access to different entitlements, and one entitlement can be gained by purchasing different products. So for example, but yeah, I'm gonna get into too many details there, but you get the idea. And the third thing that we use in the product catalog on RevenueCat, these are offerings. What are offerings? Offerings are basically the groups of products that we offer to the user to purchase. Because on some screens, for example, in my application, I'm thinking that after following the onboarding, I will offer them a very simple offer, the annual one. So that's going to be the onboarding offer that I'm going to give them. Then when they press on some buttons, I'm going to give them the option to buy both either the monthly or the annual one. So with offerings, these are the selection of products that are offered to a customer on a paywall. They are optional but recommended feature of RevenueCat that can make it easier to change and experiment with paywalls. Yes, with offerings, these are at the core of paywalls and also of experimentation. So let's go ahead and create two offerings. The first one is the default. Let's call it default. The standard set of products. And let's save it. And I will also want to create a new one called onboarding offering for the onboarding flow. This might be different. This might have different texts, might have different products inside. I think I'm gonna simplify it and give like a free trial, and the free trial is only available in annual. So by having like these two different things, I'll be able to manage them and offer different kind of things to the people. So let's go ahead and as we can see, we have 0 packages for both default and onboarding. Let's open the default offering and set up these packages. And as you can see, packages is another term that is used here that we didn't talk about, but in simple words, a package is the grouping of similar items from different stores. For example, I'm going to open it up and I'm going to have a new package for our monthly subscription, and the description will be monthly. Let's add it. And under this package, I'm going to put all the packages, all the products from different stores that represents my monthly subscription. So let's attach. At the moment, we only have on the App Store, but later on, if we have the same monthly subscription on Play Store, it's gonna go here. Where we're offering default, it has a package monthly, and it has only one product. That's correct because we only have the monthly subscription on App Store. If we have it on Google Play, it's gonna go also here under this one. Now let's add another in the default, another package that will include the annual. Let's add it. And let's, in the products, attach the annual subscription that is for 1 year. Let's attach it. And now our default offering is ready. For the onboarding, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have only one package. I'm not gonna have a monthly one because I said like I want to give a free trial and only the annual will have free trial. So let's go annual and let's add here the product called the yearly one. All right, so that's it. That's all the configurations that we had to do for our products. And it might look like a lot, but again, like you very rarely have to do these changes. You set them up once and then you simply query them and manage them from, you query them in the revenue, in your application. If you need to do some changes, like, yeah, of course you're gonna come back. But that's the configuration of our product. So this chapter for configuring products is finished. We configure a pro entitlement and the default offering. The next step is going to be configuring RevenueCat in React Native. Let me know if you have any questions so far. Hey, Amy, hi from Romania. How are you doing? Ce faci? About the onboarding stuff, right? Cannot answer a question like easily but I think in their documentation they explain like this onboarding. Jose from Mexico, hello. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and follow our tutorial. And the next step is going to configure RevenueCat library inside our React Native application. On the dashboard for the products, we are done. Our next goal is to configure the library and to fetch these products to see if we have access to them in the application. Then we're gonna get into the paywall, which is the highlight of today's video. So we are quite close to that. I see that on my physical device it cannot launch, but I have it here in the simulator as well. So so far I'm gonna work with the simulator. Remember, we have installed the React Native purchases and the React Native UI. The first step is to configure React Native purchases with our RevenueCat. React Native purchases is the RevenueCat library. So we have to configure it with the API key, and we have to do that only once in our application. Also, in this guide, there should be, or in the SDK quick start, if you scroll down, there will be some links on how you can install and set up, but let me show you what we have to do. What we have to do is we have to, as I said, configure purchases only once in our application. If you're not using Expo router, most probably you're going to do this configuration in the app.ts or app.js file. That is the entry point of your application. In Expo router, these global configurations should happen in the root layout. So the root layout is under the app directory, and there is this first layout file that you see. If you scroll down, you're gonna see root layout navigation. So that's where we can configure things. And by adding them here, they will be, this root layout is going to be rendered whenever you go to any kind of screen in your application, because this is the root of your application. I don't want to call it entry point because it's not actually the entry point, but it's a file or it's the layout that is being rendered with all your screens, and that's where our global providers are going. So let's go at the top here. After velocity import, let's give us some space. Of course, my keyboard is connected. Let's give us some space here and let's import purchases from React Native purchases. We are also going to need the API key of purchases. Actually, let me open the documentation just not to have to remember everything. So the first step in the SDK quick start is the installation. So let's press on the React Native installation. But not even installation, because in the installation it shows you how to install, but we are using Expo, so the installation is super simple for us. The next step is the initialize and configure the SDK. That's what we are interested in. So here, what we will need is we will need an API key for RevenueCat. Let's go ahead and grab our API key for RevenueCat. To do that, I'm gonna go in our RevenueCat dashboard. Let's go to the API keys page here, and let's go ahead and take the public app specific API key. Is this the one? Yes. These public app specific API keys, they are intended to be used in the client-side applications, and they are different for different platforms. For example, for iOS and for Android, they are going to be different. So let's copy this API key and let's use them in our application to configure it. You can either put it in your code, but a better approach would be to use environment variables, and with a recent version of Expo, that's possible and that's not that complicated. All we have to do is create a new file called .env and define a env variable that starts with expo_public if we want this variable to be available in our Expo application. And in this case, we want, so let's call it expo public underscore RC for RevenueCat iOS, and provide the Apple key. And you're gonna have to do the same with expo public RC Android, which at the moment is empty, or let's go ahead in the layout and continue a bit. I'm gonna look in the documentation of Quick Start to see how we should configure that in React Native. In React Native, we're also gonna need the platform in order to understand if we're on iOS or Android. And yeah, let's go ahead and copy this if statement. If statement for that is configuring purchases on iOS and Android. I'm gonna scroll down until we get to the root layout navigation. And in this component, we want to configure RevenueCat when this root layout navigation is mounted. Or should we do it in the root layout itself? Because this is about navigation and probably we don't want to mess with the navigation. In the root layout. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that in the root layout. Even though, yeah, just try not to get confused about everything else here. We are after the last use effect and before the if loaded, let's add here some space and here configure a RevenueCat. So we want to configure RevenueCat when our application mounts or when our application launches. To do that, we're gonna use a use effect that will have an empty dependency array, and this will make sure that this use effect is only executed once when the component mounts. And because this is our root layout, it's only going to be called once actually. Let's call this, let's paste this code that we copied from the documentation, this if statement, and let's fix it line by line. First of all, we need platform, so we need to import platform from React Native. To do that, above purchases, I'm going to import platform from React Native. Now platform is defined. For the API key for iOS, what I'm gonna use is I'm going to use an environment variable. To access an environment variable, we're gonna do process.env dot and the name of a variable. The name of the environment is Expo Public RC iOS. That's it here. And if we are on the Android, if the platform that we're currently running is Android, we are going to have another environment variable called process.env dot and the RC Android here. Here, it's also including some information about configuring it if you're building for Amazon, but we are not, so I'm gonna remove this like this. It says something about invalid API key because we have to restart our environment development server, but because our environment variable can be either a string or it can also be undefined. In some cases, it can be undefined. TypeScript is saying that, hey, API key should only be a string. What we should do is let's do an if statement here. Let's check if this environment variable for iOS is not provided. That means that there is some issues with our environment variables themselves. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use an alert from React Native to say no env or error configuring RevenueCat iOS RevenueCat iOS API or API key for iOS not provided, and else if it is provided, I'm going to do this. So in this case, the TypeScript error went away because we are gonna get here only if the environment variable is provided. We see the alert here that RevenueCat API key for iOS is not provided. It's going to be clear for us what actually happened there. And you can actually do the same if statement for Android as well. But in this case, copy the Expo Public Android and here for Android and close the parentheses here. Well, it's a lot of boilerplate code. You can simplify it, but it gives you a little bit of insights of if something is wrong, what is wrong. Well, maybe there is a missing API key. So if I'm going to refresh, I don't see the problem. Because I was thinking that I have to actually restart the server, but it seems that it's not. If I do a console log here, process.env.this and look the environment variable took effect, like even without having to restart the server, and we can check like even by renaming it here that it will actually trigger an error after refreshing. Will it? Come on, I was expecting it will. Well, probably actually we have to restart the server with npm start. Yeah, RevenueCat API key for iOS. If that's happening, that means that there is some issues with the environment variables. So I will try to fix it. If you have problems, just copy this key and provide it as a string to in this configuration. That's also gonna work just for us to be able to move along. In my case, the API key is working. I'll just have to restart the server. And after all of these configurations, after this if statement and after this if statement, like somewhere here, just below the use effect, test fetching products. I want to test fetching the products and seeing if we get the products in our application. That means that all our configuration is correct, because there might be situations where we misspelled something and we are not going to be able to fetch them. So this is going to be a crucial step for us to see if we didn't mess up anything beforehand. To do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call purchases.getOfferings. This is a asynchronous call that we have to await, but instead of awaiting, I'm going to do then, just simply call console log. But don't call it yourself, send it to the then, so have this syntax here. And if I open our terminal, if I refresh my on the simulator, here we see some data. That means that everything is working fine so far, and we are able to receive the offerings that we have set up in our RevenueCat dashboard and on the Apple App Store. We see here that there is all the offerings, and there is also the current offering, the default offering. So there is a lot of information. If you have any issues, one way to know more about like what's happening behind the scenes is to set up the log level by calling purchases.set log level with purchases.log level.verbose. This is going to log a lot of information, especially errors that are happening in your application. So you're going to have more insight in why something broke, if it did. For us, everything is fine here. A very common reason why you might not get the purchases, especially on the App Store, is if you don't have in the agreement. If you go into the agreement, if you don't have a paid application agreement in the either active or in the I think it's in the ready to submit status. But try to move it into the active state, because without it, you're not going to receive the products in your application. But anyway, this is a good point to celebrate so far, because that means that we have successfully configured our products on App Store. That means that we have successfully linked these products with RevenueCat and created the entitlements and offerings and configured them correctly in the dashboard. And also that means that we have installed and configured React Native purchases correctly in our application. If you see some data in the terminal about the offerings, kudos, let's continue, and the next step is going to be displaying this information in a paywall. If you have any issues on RevenueCat, and also in my guide at the bottom, I left some troubleshooting links that will show you how you can debug these issues and some common issues or problems that might arise. So yeah, you can check it out here. There is also troubleshooting the SDK for React Native, for example. And some error handling that you can implement there. Yeah. All right. So, how are you doing, guys, so far? Is it clear? Hello, Sagar. Your question about this is very off topic from today's in-app subscription, but I'm gonna try to address it quickly. And the question from Sagar is, hi, I wanted to ask you, do we even need StepZen? It just adds extra layers between frontend and backend. If we need GraphQL, it's better to build GraphQL directly. If you have one backend and one frontend, in that case, adding StepZen in between maybe is not gonna solve or is not gonna help you a lot, and it's gonna feel like adding extra layers there. But in a lot of situations, StepZen helps you connect different data sources from different places. And especially if you're working in a bigger organization, the data is not always going to be in the same database, and the data is not going to be provided by the same API. Different teams are building different endpoints. Some of them are building REST API endpoints. Some of them are building GraphQL endpoints. In some cases, you need like an external data provider. So with StepZen, you can connect all of these endpoints into one single GraphQL API. So this is the best benefit and where you will benefit the most from StepZen when you have like data coming from different sources. So yeah, check out like on their website on StepZen, you can find more information about that as well. All right, so guys, we are at this moment where we will get into the new feature of RevenueCat, the paywalls. And I waited, I was waiting for this feature from RevenueCat, think from summer, because they teased me like with what's coming. I was asking like, when is it coming? It was available for native, for Swift, and from Android. A long time ago, I mean a couple of months ago, but for React Native, the paywalls is something new, and very excited to see and to implement them in my future application, in my Femify application. So yeah, as I was saying, with paywalls, we don't. First of all, to explain you the struggles. So in the past. This is where RevenueCat was helping us with. It was providing us with these offerings. We had to take this information and we had to display it on in-app paywall. After that, also with RevenueCat's help, we were purchasing or checking the status of these entitlements. But the paywall itself was our responsibility. Like, hey, here is the data, displayed somehow in the paywall, and every time you're gonna update the data remotely, your paywall will still update. But the things like titles, buttons, colors, and so on, it was harder to manage them remotely. Now, with the paywalls, RevenueCat helps us not only with managing subscriptions, but also implementing paywalls. There are a lot of templates that we're gonna try to use today. And yeah, it will also be, it can also power A/B testing to see which paywall is performing better, like which images, which copy, and what prices, what offers are doing better. Let's go ahead and get started with paywalls. To do that, let's go ahead in our RevenueCat dashboard, and let's go and scroll down until the monetization tools. Let's open paywalls, and the paywalls are going to be linked to one of your offering. So as you can see, we already see the two offerings that we have created before, the default offering and the onboarding offering. Let's start with the default offering. So let's add this paywall. And the first step, yeah, at the top, we see what offer this paywall is linked to. It's the default one. And the next step is going to be to choose one template that we are going to use to start from. There are a lot of them here, and even more in the full gallery. I think here is actually not all of them. But the one that I'm gonna choose is, which one? I think it's this one. Or maybe this one. This one looks nice. No, let's go with this one because it fits more the style and design of my application. So let's select this one. And after selecting it, on the right, we were gonna see the preview of our paywall. And on the left, we're gonna be able to configure them. The nice part is that we can always come back and change some of these things and this will enable us to remotely change our paywall. Let's go ahead and start by providing an image here. Let me see if I have an image for the Femify. 1 second. Here is the Femify, and I think I can use the icon. Yeah, I think I can use the icon. No? Oh, yeah, I'll take the background. Let me see where is this image because I think it's not, it's in Dropbox and it's not downloaded. Dropbox. Let's try again. For the image background, oh, the background image. I don't think I want a background image. I will do only an icon here. Page not found. Is my issues with my icon? Or am I providing something wrong here? Desktop. I think I was trying with something from here. Let me try another template. So for the image, I'm gonna try to go with this one. Page not found. What's happening? It's not very... Let me check if I can... Oh, no. I was opening a presentation. Wait a second. Let's move on to the main content because the image, I think we can, it can be optional. And for the main content here, we can provide the title. Let's start with your financial freedom. We can change like the background color of the page. I'm gonna leave it white. It also has the text color for the light mode and for the dark mode. For the features, this is where we will provide the different features that our subscription provides. So let's do, I don't know, unlimited or access to pro features, AI, financial advisor, something like that, and something like unlimited tracked accounts. You can choose a different icon, of course, from a list of default iOS icons, like a circle. That looks better, but I'm gonna leave them by default. And what else? You can add as many features as you want here. For the icon, you can specify what color you want in both light mode and dark mode. And the next step is the important one. This is where we will choose the packages that we want to display in this screen. As you can see, it automatically added the monthly package, And I will add another one by pressing add package, and I'm going to select the annual package. This way I will have both the monthly and annual products on this page. So the default package that is going to be selected, I think is going to be better if we select by default the annual one. And yeah, we can also interact with this. I didn't know. Cool. And the package name. Package name here, we are able to choose how do we want to display the name of a package based on the offer period, monthly, annual, the product name, the subscription details, monthly, annual. Okay, package details. Full access for just, and here we can even add variables like price, full access for just $4.99, or price per period. Just let's remove a price, and this is going to be for just $4.99/month, or we can also do the total price and per month. Sub price. We can do price and do, no, I think it should be price per period. If you have an introductory offer, you can add the information here, and it's going to describe the terms of the subscription for introductory offer. For example, you can do first, and here you can do the sub offer, sub duration, which will say first 7 days free, then, and here we are gonna do price. The default one that they are suggesting is really nice. First sub offer duration free, then total price and per month, and then total price and per month. You can add more information about the package details for the Play Store that is going to be included there. You can specify how you want to make them look when selected, like colors. So you can adjust a lot of things. Let's move on to the call to action, because this is important. You can either provide continue or, I'll say continue, or you can do start today, start now. If there is an introductory offer, you can do here something different. And lastly, the footer links. These are important for your paywall to be accepted by the Play Store and App Store. Every paywall in the footer should have links to terms of service and privacy policy. I have them created for my application. So let me just take the privacy policy here, added them in this link, and the terms of service as well. And also a restore purchases button. This is very important because if, for example, the user already has purchased your subscription and he is installing this in a new application, he'll be able to press on the restore to restore his purchases back. And otherwise, we have to implement this feature ourselves, but with a paywall, it automatically is happening. So let's press create paywall, and let's press create it. That's it. Now our paywall has been successfully created. Let's go ahead and try to render and display it in our application. There are a couple of ways we can display the paywall in the application. The first one is, let's go ahead in the tab 2. Let's go in the tab 2 and render it there. I'm gonna open tabs, tab 2, and here let's remove everything that we have. I don't even need the styles, because I will simply, in the tab 2 here, I will simply render the paywall. To render the paywall, let's import something from React Native Purchases UI. important, this is the UI library responsible for the paywalls. So I think we don't need to destructure. I think we will do paywall, but we can double check that in the guide, in the documentation of paywalls, displaying paywalls. And I will go right away to React Native. And there are, as I said, a couple of ways. One way is going to be using the RevenueCat UI.paywall, or maybe we can destructure it from here. No? Let's call it RevenueCat UI, and here render RevenueCat UI.paywall. And what this will do is we'll go ahead and render the paywall when we go on the tab 2. And it says something, offering has no, because I'm still running. After refreshing, everything is okay. So now if I go to tab 2, we see the paywall from there. It doesn't show the image because I didn't manage to upload any yet, but it shows everything else here. We can change, we see the actual price that we didn't specify. We simply specified in the packages, for the title, we specified the price per period, and this will be fetched and displayed automatically from the App Store, meaning that whenever we update this on the App Store in our application, it will automatically be updated as well. On the emulator, we're not going to be able to purchase because we need to be signed in with Apple, and it's better to test all of this on your physical device. I have them here. Let me try to show you my screen as well. Using the media. Using the player. So, hello. No, pause. That's not what I wanted. I wanted the screen. Yeah. So here you should see the screen of my physical iPhone. And what I can do is I can choose the monthly. I can press start now. It will fetch this product, and it will show me a model to start this purchase. As you can see at the top, it says sandbox, which means that we are still for testing purposes only, and I'm not going to be charged. But I can press subscribe, and I'll have to probably sign in here. Oh no, I don't know the password, but I tested it. Okay. After that is done, I don't know why You're all set, your purchase was successful, environment sandbox. Okay. That's it. That's how easy it was to add this paywall here and how we can manage and create these subscriptions. Now, if we go to our overview on RevenueCat, and if we turn on the sandbox data here, we're going to see that a few seconds ago, a new user, an anonymous user for the project Femify from Spain, he spent $5 and all the information about like the SDK and so on. So he started the subscription. We're gonna see the entitlement that he subscribed to the offering that he purchased, and so on. So just like that, we have our paywall working. But this is not the only way how we can render the paywall, because by rendering it this way, it's still our responsibility to handle and manage like whether we should display the paywall or not. Because if a user is already subscribed, I don't really want to display the paywall. And sometimes I want to display the paywall when the user presses a button or tries to go somewhere, or if he after he finishes completing a step like an onboarding and so on. So let's see other ways that we can render the paywall other than having this component. To do that, I'm going to go into the index file, and from here, this index file is the first tab that we have. And let's go ahead and remove everything and only leave here and render here a button that will have a title, go to, or yeah, perform a pro action. Let's do here on press pro action, and this will simulate some kind of actions or buttons that only users that are subscribed should be able to do. What we can do is let's start by simply import React or let's import React Native Purchases UI. RevenueCat UI. Let's call it like this, RevenueCat UI, to be consistent. And whenever we will press on this button on my screen, I want to render the paywall. So let's go ahead and do RevenueCat display or present paywall. There is a present paywall that will show the paywall no matter what. As you can see, this shows like really nicely from like a model from the bottom. And from here we can choose what we want to do. Also, there is another method, present paywall if needed, and this will only present the paywall if the user doesn't have an entitlement. This method needs a string. Let's see what it expects. Yeah. This method expects us to provide here required entitlement identifier, which will specify what entitlement should it check before displaying it. The name of our entitlement, if we go back in our dashboard project Femify, in the entitlements we called it Pro. So by checking if the user is subscribed to Pro or not, it will either show them the paywall or not. So if I press right now, nothing is going to happen because we are subscribed. But if I'm going to go to the dashboard overview, and for this user that subscribed here, if I'm going to, can I stop the subscription from here? Manage, if I'm going to delete the customer. And if I'm going to go back here and press perform a pro action, maybe I have to reload or wait for a bit. Actually, it's not going to be the case, right? I had to stop it. Let me check if I can see this subscription in my settings. I can only see like actual subscription, not the Yeah, this is linked with my app store. So even though I removed the data from here, it recreated it because there is still this one. How can I test it? But the idea is that this method is going to present the paywall only if it's needed. So for example, if I will change here the entitlement ID here, the user doesn't have this entitlement. So if I'm going to press the button, it's going to show. But if I'm going to have an actual entitlement that the user already has, and if I will press, nothing is going to happen. So this is a great method to use in order to protect some of your features or some of your screens from to put them behind a paywall. Also, there is this method will return us some results, so we can check what is the result of this method and if we have to continue or not. The results, paywall result, let's get it, const paywall result is equal to await and this one. This paywall result is of type paywall result. So let's type it properly. And then we can have paywall result. And then we can do we can take different actions depending on the paywall result. So I will go with this switch. And maybe let's move everything into a separate function called const is subscribed that will manage the paywall and subscription and will simply return false or true. And here in the pro action, I'm going to do if await is subscribed, then if await is subscribed, let's do alert, or you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have a screen where let's do alert, user has access. So only if the user is subscribed, we're gonna display this alert simulating that, hey, perform the action that you wanted to perform. So if I press now, reload. If I press now, nothing is happening. Paywall result not presented is going to be false. But if it's not presented, that means that he's allowed to do. So I'm going to return true. If it's error or cancelled, false. If purchased or restored, true. And default false. User has access. Perfect. And if I do here 1, 2, 3 and then reload the application. If, for example, I press, it opens the paywall, and when I press cancel, I'm not gonna see that the alert, because my paywall result is going to be canceled. I'm gonna return false from this function, and I'm not gonna give him access to that juicy specific feature for pro members only. All right. Nice. Another cool thing here is that we can display different kind of paywalls depending on, basically what offering do we want to do, or depending on the flow that the user is having. So let's go ahead and go under the projects in Famify. Oh, Nacho is saying, for your information, we're looking into the page not found error when uploading images right now. I was testing it like 1 hour ago and it was working, but that's probably the demo effect. But I'm pretty sure it's gonna work soon. Hello, Nacho, how are you doing? Rodrigo, hello. Nachi is saying we've identified the issue and we are working on a fix right now. Perfect. That's impressive speed. Nachi is from RevenueCat, so they are on this issue. Anyway, another thing that I really wanted to highlight is the possibility of having different paywalls linked to different offerings. For example, the default one will show the annual and monthly. But on the onboarding, most probably I want to add a different paywall. So just by going to the offering that we created previously, onboarding, let's go ahead and press add paywall. On the onboarding, I think this style of paywall will work better because it targets like the free trial. It's very clear like what's happening on every day. So let's go ahead and select this one. I'm gonna zoom out a bit. And let's go ahead and fill in the template. So for the image, I think it's not gonna work, but we are on it. You can update it later. Here, let's do your free trial. Start your free trial. Let's go ahead and for the features, we're gonna say today, get full access. In 6 days, we will notify you or something like that. And then maybe like in 7 days, I don't know, continue with Pro access. Not the best at writing content right now, but that's not the point here. Check, like, I don't know, something like that. For the packages, this is the most important part. This is where we are linking our paywall with packages that we want to display. In our case, we only have one package in this offer because we want only the annual offering. So let's just call it full access for just something per year. Package details, I'll leave them like this. For the call to actions, start free trial. The 7-day free trial, I wanted to say 7-day, but try to, instead of hard coding like things like 7 days, try to use variables. For example, the sub duration. This is going to be not the sub duration, but the free trial. Or start your free trial. As again, in the footer, make sure to add the links. I'm gonna leave them like this. Let's create the paywall. Let's create it. And the paywall has been successfully created. Oh, here we have it. We're actively investigating an issue uploading new images for paywalls. And what we want to do here is we want to display a different paywall depending on where the user is coming from. To do that, I will replace display paywall if needed with display paywall. Let's do display paywall. I will and this will always display it. Let's do, I don't even need the result there. I will, no, let me leave it how it was here. Perform pro action, and I will add other buttons to test the next things. For example, I will have a title, display default paywall. And on press, I will simply call purchases RevenueCat UI dot present paywall. If we simply call present paywall, it will automatically display the default one. The default one of the offering that is selected as default, that is not that has the name default, but that is selected here for you. So if you choose from default to onboarding to make it default, now I think that by pressing this one, we will see the other paywall, and I'll have to reload. So display, yes, that's true. So if we don't specify anything, RevenueCat will look which offering is currently selected as default offering in your dashboard, and it's going to use the paywall for linked to that offer. So let's go ahead and make the first one default. But in cases where we want to display the paywall of different offerings, for example, I will add a new button here, display onboarding paywall. We can do that by providing here the option, and I think the option is called offering. The offering, we need to provide here like an actual offering object. Some recommendation to RevenueCat, I think I would really love to be able to send here just the name, like offering onboarding. But at the moment, it's not working like this. We have to fetch the offerings, look for the offering with the name onboarding, and provide here the actual value of that offering. So what I'm gonna have to do here is, when this screen mounts in a use effect, I'll have to fetch the offerings. To do that, let's create a function, fetch offerings. It's going to be an async function. Let's go ahead and right away call this fetch offerings. And what I'm going to do is const offerings equal to await. We need the purchases, not the UI, but we need import. Maybe we can call it RevenueCat from React Native purchases. Or I think it's better to call it purchases to keep it consistent with other places where we use purchases. Dot get offerings. This will give us back the offerings, and we can do a console log offerings, or better if we do a console log of JSON.stringify offerings to better see what data it has. I will do null here and 2 to have tabulation. And if I will look here in the console, we should see already a list with all the offerings. There is the current offering that is currently selected as the active one in our dashboard, and this is it contains the products annual and the products monthly. And there is also the all offerings, which is which has the identifier default. And if we scroll down, there is also another one with the identifier annual onboarding, this one. So we will have to probably call offerings dot all dot onboarding. So if we check now, it should only contain in the log the offering for the onboarding, and under the available products we see that it only has one product. Perfect. In some cases you might have named the offering with multiple words. So if that's the case for you and you don't know like how to do multiple words here, what you should do is you'll access it like this, and this will also work. And in this situation, you can add multiple words if that's the name and if that's the case for yourself. And if I check, it still works. So this is the object of the offering that I'm interested in. Let's go ahead and save it into a state variable, const onboarding offering, set onboarding offering equal use state, and initially it's going to be null, but the type of it should be, do we have here purchase offering? Or maybe I'm gonna do not null but undefined, and that will work. So in this fetch offerings, what I have to do is do set onboarding offering with this field. If it's not gonna be there, it's gonna be undefined, and it's gonna be okay. But we can go to the button here, and when we present the paywall, I will be able to provide here the offering that I want to use for the paywall. And the offering is the onboarding offering, just like that. So now if I press on the middle button that will display the default paywall, it should display the default paywall that I would use in my application to provide multiple options like monthly, annual. But on the onboarding, I want to provide a different, a simpler offering. So if I press on the last button, display the onboarding one, we see the paywall display for the onboarding offering that only has the free trial and the annual access. I'm gonna try to purchase it, and maybe I think it's going to suggest me to upgrade. Yeah, perfect. So just like that, this way you can provide different offerings. You can you can display different paywalls depending on the offering that you want to provide. And later on, having these offerings, you can go ahead and enable experiments. And creating an experiment, you can choose like different offerings, maybe with different paywalls, maybe with some different pricing, with different products. And this way you can go ahead and test which one is performing better. That's very crucial for maximizing your revenue for your mobile application. And after that, you're going to see like clearly the results of your experimentation to see which, for example, paywall is performing better in your case. All right. I just realized a problem. I do not have an Android device to set up the Android integration. Let me check if I have an Android device that I can find in my drawer. And if you have any questions so far, feel free to ask them in the chat. I'm gonna check the Android. found my old phone. Not sure if it's still working. Let's try. At least I will show you how you can create and set up this integration with React Native. So, yeah, as I was saying, on iOS, the setup is complete. We saw how easy it was to render these paywalls without us having to do a lot of this configuration ourselves, designing, checking if the user has already the entitlement or not, testing like between different paywalls, which one is performing better. Now let's go ahead and let me show you how you can configure this on Google Play as well. For that, I'm going to go ahead and log into my Google Play console. Give me just 1 second to log in. So here is the page for the application that I've been testing. And what do we have? Let's go into the documentation, and under configuring products, let's open the Google Play product setup. So what do we have to do? We have to create the product and subscription. But this is the product configuration. First, we need to connect our RevenueCat application with the Google Play application. For that, let's go under the applications, and we have the iOS application here. Let's go ahead and add a new one for Play Store as well. The app name is going to be Femify, and the package name is going to be the same, dev.notjust.femify. Now here we need the service account credentials. How do I create this? Just press on this button and RevenueCat will teach you how to do it. That's what I like every time we have like some of these fields, like if you're confused, just go to the documentation and it's gonna explain how you can do it. But the problem is that it can take around 36 hours for Play service credentials to work properly with Google Play Developer API. So in some cases, you just need to wait. So to enable it, let's go to the API console. From the project list, we need to select a project or create a new one. So here we have Femify. If you don't have it for your application, you can create a new one. And let's go to the Google Play Android Developer API page and Google Developer Reporting API page. Here. I need to enable it. So just press on the first link, click enable. And then click on the second one, this one. And this is the Developer API Reporting API. Also click Enable for Developer API and for the Reporting API. Okay. So what's going on here? Enable API. We have an API. Make sure to also, let's check the credentials. This step I didn't understand fully. Click enable. After enabling the API, you'll be redirected to the API page. From there, if you do not have credentials, you will need to create the following the prompt. I think I have credentials because it didn't give me any prompt. So let's just continue with the service account. Where? In the Google Cloud Console. Cloud Console, YAM and admin, service account. So here, Cloud Console, YAM and admin from the homepage of a Google Cloud. Let's go to the YAM. And what do we need to do here? Service account. Service account, we're gonna look for the service accounts in the left panel. Let's go ahead and create a service account. I think it's better to create the service account directly from this dashboard. Oh my god, I didn't work with Google Play in a while. Oh, my head is spinning. My head is spinning from all the changes that we have to do. Service account ID is required. What ID? Service account. Okay. Let's create and continue. Grant service account access to the project. To Femify. So what? We need pub sub admin. Pub sub admin. This is the one that I need to add. And another role for monitoring viewer. Monitoring, not admin, but monitoring viewer. Hey, Nacho. Nacho is saying that good news, Vadim, the fix for uploading paywall images is now live. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for such a fast fix. Really appreciate it. We're gonna add some images in a moment. Now let's continue with setting up our Play Store. So after adding these two roles, let's press continue and grant user access to this service role. Do we need it? What does the documentation say? The first step is optional and select done. Okay, let's press done. And from here, we're gonna need to manage keys. That's one is something I probably remember. And let's do add key, create a new key, JSON or P12. It's going to be JSON. So let's do create. This will download the key. And what I have to do with this key is we're going to need it in the fourth step. Now we need to grant financial access to RevenueCat in the Google Play Console, developer homepage, users and permissions, Google Play. Under users and permissions, here, we need to go select invite user. You'll want to invite the service account you created in step 2. Okay, let's go ahead and under users, manage users, we need to invite a user. I think will we need to find the user here? Oh, here. By pressing on the 3 dots, we can press invite new user. And the email is going to be the service account email that we created back in the previous step. Permissions, details, email. This is service account, Femify, Yum, and so on. So go back to the service account that you created in Google Cloud, and let's invite it by email. And do we need to add the application? Yes, we need to link it to our application that we want to give it access to. And it should have access, very specific type of access. You need to add your app, and under account permission, then you need to grant certain permission order. Okay. Grant the following permission: view app information, download bulk reports. View app information. Okay. This one. What else? View financial data, orders and cancellation service responses. View financial data. Okay. And manage orders and subscriptions. Manage orders and subscriptions. I think these are the 3 permissions that RevenueCat needs. So let's press invite user, send invitation. And next step is you'll then be redirected to users and permission, where you should see your newly created account is active. This one is active. Okay, that's good. Now we need to enter the credentials that we downloaded in the previous step in RevenueCat dashboard. So for that, let's go back to our RevenueCat dashboard, and here under service account credential JSON, let's drag the JSON file here. Save changes. Must be enabled by visiting your Google Cloud platform. I didn't enable it. Maybe I did. Credential need attention. Permission to call subscription API. That's cool that it automatically understands it. But how do I solve it? Permission to call subscriptions API. I think I missed something. If I reload, let's go to the Google. Let's click on this link. Cloud Pub Sub API. Yeah, I think that's what I was missing. Okay. Now, if I refresh RevenueCat, validating, it's still not there. If I refresh, that actually also might be the propagation time that Google needs to propagate all of these permissions. So let's continue, because I think I enabled the permissions. So let's continue with the documentation. Checking the status with Google Pre-Credential, we will validate. Okay. View financial data in step 3. Manage order in step 3. Once this is done, try to make a test purchase using Sandbox user in order to check if the connection to the subscription API is working. Yeah, we're gonna come back and test it to see what's going on. Hello, Ismail. The question is, just joined the live. Not sure, but read somewhere Apple takes up to 30%. How do we sustain a business like a marketplace where we only take 10% from the users' transactions? That's very true. Apple and Google, their platforms, they are taking from 15 to 30% of the in-app purchases and in-app subscriptions. But in case of a marketplace where the transactions is for a physical product, in that case you don't have to manage them through in-app subscription or payments. You can manage them with third-party payment providers like Stripe, and in that case you're going to pay Stripe a very small percentage and you can sustain your business. So for very specific applications you can use third-party payment providers, but with features like most common like features that would enable you like more content or access to different features or screen in your application, that is should and must go through the stores. With RevenueCat you can actually you can not only manage like through App Store and Android, but you can also connect RevenueCat with Stripe. So in that situations, you can handle that for RevenueCat as well by not going through App Store or Google, but through Stripe. Good question. Anyway, let's continue. Whoa. I hope that my configuration is correct. Let's go ahead and start setting up the in-app subscriptions on Google Play. To do that, I'm going to open the configuring products here for Google Play products. And I'll have to go to the monetize, and there we will see the subscriptions. So let's open Google Play. Let's go to the home. Such a huge relief. Thanks for the answer. Yeah, you're welcome. And let's go ahead in our application. We can scroll down until we see monetize. Under monetize, there will be subscriptions. And here, your app doesn't have any subscriptions yet. Oh boy, this is where the roadblock happens, because what should happen is now we should rebuild our application. After installing React Native purchases, we should rebuild our application and submit a new APK, because after installing React Native purchases, our APK will have the subscriptions enabled. And only then we're going to be able to set them up here on Google Play. I don't have that here, so that's going to be a bit of a problem. I have a magic weather, so I might show you a couple of things. Financial reports, monetization setup. So I have a very, very old application where that I've built also for RevenueCat. And here, this application, like after you upload your application, a new version of your APK, you'll have the possibility to enable subscriptions here. So all you have to do is go ahead and press create subscription. Here under the product ID, try to use the same product ID that you have used on App Store. For example, where is it? Applications. This one. Something went wrong. Why is everything going wrong? But subscription, the group, the product ID, for example, RC499 per month. We can use the same product ID here, and this is going to be monthly. Monthly Pro. Let's create it. And follow the step-by-step here guide from Google Play to finish the configuration of this subscription. Let's start with the benefits. And under the benefits, you can add multiple rows that will be probably displayed also on the Play Store. Pro Access, AI, Financial Advisor. You can add here description, Pro Access, and let's press save. I'm gonna go back and let's follow the second one, add a base plan. Base plan ID. Is this base plan? Okay, this is the actual product that we are setting up, I think. And let's say Famify. Why doesn't it like must start with a number or lowercase letter? Yes. Contain only numbers and hyphens. Exactly. This is going to be auto renewal. The billing period is monthly. Grace period. Let's do none. Why doesn't like it? Famify. Hello. Okay, hello works. Oh, underscore is not available. Hyphen is enabled. Okay. My bad. Customer base. Okay, charge immediately. Allow to resubscribe. And for the price, we can press here set prices. All regions, set prices. Let's start with a base of, I don't know, euro or USD. Use the same one as you used on App Store, $4.99 for example, or USD. $4.99. Update. And it will automatically update it for the hours. So let's press save. On this page, we are done. Let's go back to our subscription. Add offers such as an unpaid trials. I don't want to add offer. And let's activate the base plan. Activate. Now, after we have created the monthly pro, go ahead and do the same for your yearly subscription. The only difference is that in your yearly subscription, you're going to have a free trial. A free trial for 7 days. And after you have done that on your RevenueCat dashboard, all you have to do is you have to create this as products, as product mappings with Google Play here. You can also automatically import them, or you can provide the name and the base plan ID and create the product, to create the linking between them. After you have added the product, the last step is to attach it to your entitlement to say that if the user will have the product on Android as well, he will also be entitled to Pro. And this way we group them together for the entitlements. And lastly, under the offerings, where you have a package, you're going to have to upgrade for example, the monthly package now contains only the App Store monthly product, but you're going to attach one more for the Google Store. And this way, you're going to, on the paywall, no matter where you're running on iOS or Android, it will work similarly. I'm really sorry that I don't have like everything ready here on the Play Store, and it's going to take a lot of time for me to rebuild and deploy this application to have the in-app subscriptions enabled. And with a different bundle identifier, I'm not going to be able to fetch it on my device. I'm mostly using the iOS, but yeah, basically from your code perspective, nothing is going to change. The only change that you're going to have is setting them up correctly on the Play console, and then mapping them to your RevenueCat products. And that's the beauty of RevenueCat, because in the code, everything remains the same. And now with the new paywalls, we don't even need to think about like managing and rendering different products. This is all automatically done by RevenueCat. And before we go, I really want to try the images, because yeah, if I go to the project, to my project, to Paywalls, let's check the maybe onboarding paywall. We have an image, and I can select the icon of my application. Let's see it. File uploaded successfully. Perfect. And now we see it here at the top. I can go ahead and press save. And if I go back to my application for the onboarding paywall, if I'm gonna do a reload, come on, quickly. Let's do the onboarding. It's fetching. Nice animation. Is my internet connection bad? Or did I break something? No, I didn't. Yes, so it took a bit of time to download this image on my computer. But after that, like if you go to this one, it instantly is here. So the image that we have set up from the dashboard automatically updates here. And not only the image, like later on, if you want to change some of the titles, you're gonna come here for the main content, or maybe, yeah, the main content. For the title, maybe you're gonna do you start today. You're gonna save, and the users without you having to do anything on your code side, without having to rebuild and republish and send any changes. Everything is going to automatically be happening, and your paywall is going to be updated. This is super crucial to manage and improve and optimize your paywall and maximize the revenue that your application is going to generate. I also wanted to show that there is different ways that this paywall can be rendered. At the moment we are rendering it full screen, but there are other options as well. For example, you can render it as a footer as well. So this will be rendered on top of some of your screens if you are interested. Yeah, you can see like dark mode, you can switch from them. You can look at the full screen, you can look how it will look on dark mode, light mode. Nice. And in the chart, you're gonna see information about your subscriptions. All right, so that was the tutorial about paywalls implemented with RevenueCat. Not only paywalls, but the whole in-app subscription setup, from configuring everything on the stores all the way to displaying them in the user application. If you enjoy this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're going to have a lot of other tutorials around React Native and building mobile applications on the channel in the following months. We already have a lot of them there, so you can check out through our past tutorials. Thank you very much, RevenueCat, for sponsoring this video and for making it possible. I'm really excited to go ahead and do the same thing in my actual application, not in the test application, and start monetizing with RevenueCat with really easy setup, with beautiful paywalls that I'll be able to manage remotely and do some A/B testing as well. If you have any questions, guys, now is the time, or leave them below and I'm gonna go through them and try to help you implement this in your application as well. Thank you very much, and I will see you next week.